Welcome to another episode of the show. We are back. New week, new heat, new episode. So glad to be here. Thank you so much for listening. If you guys are new to this show is called Polar Opposites because my co-host Dante and I, we agree, we disagree, but most importantly, we come together to give our opinions on topics related to pop culture, entertainment, politics, music. We have a good time every single time, and it's always an interesting discussion. One thing that you'll have to know with this show is that we never run from important conversations. Sometimes it can get uncomfortable, but I feel like that's the important thing that we need to do, as a society, is to have these conversations and see both sides, because there are two sides or maybe three sides to every situation. There's your side, there's my side, and there's the truth. So I don't know what truth we're going to be uncovering on this episode, but it's basically the premise of this podcast, and it's always a good time. So if you love this show after hearing it, be sure to subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, follow us on Spotify, hit the subscribe button on Apple Podcasts, and word of mouth is how you spread awareness about this show. So if you love it and you want us to grow, tell a friend about it, subscribe, and give us a rating. Speaking of that, we have a method for you guys to send us anonymous questions. So a lot of you guys might want to ask us something. Maybe there's a scenario that you want us to read on the show. We have a section in the description where you can click the link and then ask us anything. So it doesn't have to be serious. It can be funny. Feel free to say that and use that tool to the best of your abilities. But Dante, how are you? How was your week?
So all of that was Justin's long way of saying we talk spicy shit and we don't back down from nothing on this podcast. I'm doing all right. How are you doing, sir?
I'm not doing all right. I guess we'll tell the people what's going on. So Dante and I actually recorded an episode yesterday. We spent almost an hour and 30 minutes having a really great discussion. And then when I got around to editing the episode, the audio sounded funny. And if you know anything about us, we're all about quality. If the content is not good, if it doesn't sound right, it will never see the light of day. So unfortunately, y'all will never hear that episode. So what y'all are going to get this week is an episode from our vault. Don't worry, because it's always a good episode. We just keep these episodes stored away. And then when the right week approaches, we release it for you guys so you get to hear never before heard content from us.
Yeah, and just so y'all know, you're still getting a really good episode when you listen to this. But the episode that's coming to you next week, barring any acts of God or technology fuck ups, it's going to be fire. We spent like 2 hours after we recorded talking about, hey, we were having a conversation. It was just a natural conversation. Like, this needs to be on the podcast. Why are we talking about this now? Make sure you write this down. Make sure you write that down. So it's going to be a good one.
It is. Maybe one of our secret fans sabotaged the episode. It was too good to be released, so they're like, let me mess this up so they don't get to release it this week. So
y'all know people at Zoom, y'all out there fucking with our stuff, man.
Oh my God. I don't know who it is, but I was mad, but I'm doing better now. I got my coffee. I'm feeling alive, so I feel good, but it happens. So you guys are getting a good episode regardless. So it's a win-win for y'all. But let's reflect a little bit. So last week we had our fave Tiffany Ferg come on and speak some truth, speak some fire on the show about white supremacy, what it means to be an ally. I love that episode that came out last week. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. She came prepared. She came for business, and, she spoke truth to power. It was a really good episode. It was really in depth. It wasn't, one word answers. It was a really open conversation, and all three of us were involved and engaged in it. So I appreciate that, and I enjoyed that. What was one of your favorite parts or a highlight from it for you?
Ooh, that's a good question. I really liked when she talked about how difficult it is to have conversations with those that you're close to that might have opposing views. And that often can be family members. So we always speak about how it's important for people to address their family members, because if you want to be part of the change, it starts with having those uncomfortable conversations. But Tiffany was very honest. She didn't come on here and lie and say, I always hold everybody around me accountable. If they say something racist, I'm always there to put my foot down. That's not what she said. She said that it's hard and challenging to have those conversations. She didn't shy away from the truth, and I really appreciated that, because I'm sure a lot of people have that same difficulty when it comes to talking with their family members about, social justice or Black Lives Matter, or, just trying to defend the truth, I guess, and do the right thing as a human being, not even as an ally. So that was my favorite part. What was yours?
That was good. And then also when I asked her the question about, hey, if you see or hear these things happen in person, why do you think that people tend to not interject themselves in it or correct somebody in the moment? We just had a really open and honest conversation about how that's an awkward position for people, or you might be actually putting yourself in physical harm doing so. So, a lot of questions we asked, sometimes there's not a right answer. There's not a textbook answer, but again, the point of this podcast is having those conversations and getting a conversation and a dialogue started and going. Sometimes we'll find out the answer along the way.
Yeah, definitely. So if you guys enjoyed that episode, let us know your thoughts. If there's people that you want us to collaborate with in the future that you think would be perfect for the show, write in an anonymous question, send us something, any suggestion that you have for people that could possibly be on the show. We would love to hear it, and hey, you never know. It might happen. You might hear an episode and the person you suggested is our guest on a future episode. So we would appreciate that if you have any thoughts about our episode last week. But it was a great episode, and I recommend you guys to send that to people that you think would really benefit from hearing an episode like that, because it was very good and a lot of broad perspectives on that episode. But I definitely agree with you in terms of quality. I really like that episode. But yeah, that's my thought on last week's episode. So listener questions. So like I, teased earlier, we have a method for you guys to send in questions. So we have one question to answer this week before we get into our main topic. And somebody asked us, I have a question for both of you. What are some of your personal favorite and least favorite episodes, as well as guests that have been on the show? Man, they're trying to get us in some trouble.
You want me to take that one first?
Sure.
My favorite episode that we've done thus far, every time somebody asks me, approaches me about the podcast and they want to listen for the first time and say, hey, what's a good episode to get into it? I always point to Black Like Me. I feel like that's an episode of a podcast I've always wanted to make, where it's like I wanted to be open and vulnerable and just talk about my experiences and what I've gone through and what I feel and why I look at the world the way I do. So for me, that's my favorite.
For me, I don't know. I don't really have a favorite episode. Dante, for him, he's really good at making lists, like top 5 this, top 10 that. For me, it's really hard to compress all of the episodes and figure out which ones are my favorite. Usually my favorite episodes are the ones where Dante and I are disagreeing and we're trying to make each other see our point of view. And sometimes we never reach a conclusion, and it's just a good discussion to hear how both of us see the world. Because, I don't know, me and Dante, in a way, we're kind of yin and yang. Depending on the topic, we don't really see eye to eye, but most of the time we try and give our perspective. Neither of us back down. That's the thing that I like about Dante, because he's firm in his beliefs, and if he believes in something, he's not going to be swayed by me, no matter how great my argument is, no matter how firm I am in my argument. Dante's always gonna, stand up for himself, and I appreciate that. He doesn't let me bully him. Because y'all be careful. I might bully you if you ever come on the show, but Dante, he doesn't back down, and it's refreshing. So I think it's refreshing for a lot of you guys to hear us argue sometimes, and those are my favorite episodes. So an example would be our Lil Nas X episode. In the beginning of that episode, we spent some time talking about the difficulty that some people have with supporting the Asian American community. And also in that episode, towards the end, we were talking about qualifications and a little bit of affirmative action and what it means to be truly qualified. Are we hiring people because they're diverse, or are we hiring people based on merit? So both of us had different viewpoints on that, and it was just a great episode. So that would be one of my favorites. But last week's episode I loved, and a lot of them I love, but it's hard for me again to pick favorites, because I don't know, it's kind of like picking your favorite child. You love all of your children, so you don't want to ever pick favorites. So that's my mindset when it comes to favorite episodes, I guess.
I think parents, they know they have a favorite kid. I know my parents have favorite kids.
Are you the favorite?
Yeah. And my brother's probably listening to this. He knows.
Yeah, damn. A hard pill to swallow. I'm not the favorite kid, by the way, in case any of y'all care. I'm not the favorite kid. You would think I am. But I'm actually not.
There's a little pain in that just now. He said, you would think that I am.
It's because I'm not light-skinned. Everybody in my family is light-skinned except me, so they're mad because the whole family isn't light-skinned. I'm like the black sheep of the family, but it's whatever. It's all good. It's whatever.
Oh, God.
But,
not even getting into that.
I know.
Into that. Who was your favorite guest?
My favorite guest. Ooh, damn. A lot of my friends like when my friend Jared is on the show. He's very entertaining. So Jared is always a highlight anytime I record with him. Steffi's a great guest. Tiffany was a great guest. We haven't really had too many guests with just like me and Dante. So whenever me and Dante have recorded, only Tiffany has been our guest. So I guess those are my favorites, if you want to say favorites. But most of the time in the past I recorded with my friends, we usually have good chemistry. So anytime I recorded with anybody, I would say that it's a good episode regardless. But I don't have like a favorite person. Maybe Dante's my favorite person.
Yeah, I was about to say, you guys know what the answer is, right? I started out as a guest and I just kept coming back, and now I'm on the logo. You know what I mean? He didn't want to hurt nobody's feelings. Shout out to Steffi. I like your work. Hey, listen, we know what it is, and it's okay. I'm happy to be here, guys.
Yeah, we love Dante. Let's not kid ourselves. We love Dante. But yeah, that's it for favorite guest. My favorite guest is a permanent addition to the show, so that answers your question, hopefully. But that's it. That's it for your question. Thank you for sending that question. And here's my message to all of you guys listening to this right now. If you have not sent us a question, what are you doing? We love getting feedback from you guys. We love answering your questions. So I know you're smiling listening to this because you know you haven't sent something in. It's not cool and it doesn't make me happy at all. I want y'all to send in letters. I want y'all to send in scenarios. Even if it's just a compliment, it really means a lot to know that there's people out there resonating with the work that we're making. It motivates us to continue making more. So the more stuff that y'all send in, the happier it makes us and the more episodes will be released in the future. So keep that in mind as well. But honestly, I really do appreciate your feedback.
And I would like to add on to that, people that have wrote in questions that we've answered, and if we've asked for feedback, please give us that follow-up. You can just send it in anonymously. It doesn't even have to be a question. But to the girl who shot her shot and the guy texts back Happy Easter, please write back to us. I want to know how that turned out for you. To the guy who asked us about how his friend wanted to start a YouTube series to talk about racism and everything, let us know how that ended up turning out for you. If you started that YouTube series, send us the link. Want to check it out? Let us know how that situation ended up. And also to the guy who said he found his unicorn, but she was giving him ultimatums before it was even a year into the relationship. Please tell us how that turned out. I hope you're not in the sunken place. I want to try and save you.
We don't pray for that. But yeah, we want follow-ups as well, because it's kind of like reading a book and loving the first chapter and not finishing the rest of the book. We need the completion of the story. So please send in a follow-up letter. And if you haven't sent us a letter, please send us one. We love hearing from you guys. But that's it for me, honestly. I'm trying to think if I'm forgetting anything before we get into this episode that they've never heard before.
No, I think we covered everything. I'm excited to start recording for next week.
Me too.
Y'all have no idea.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good episode. Like, we talked it out, we planned it for the most part. Our planning day is Friday, so as that is approaching, we are building up the episode. So y'all stay tuned for that. And yeah, stay in touch with the show. The links to follow us are in the description. The links to send us a letter is in the description. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. It's from the vault, so it'll give you an indication of what kind of episodes are in our vault. But it's a good episode nevertheless.
Yeah, I hope y'all enjoy it. Let us know what you think about our episode from last week. Let us know what you think about the episode you're about to listen to now. And I know there's going to be people writing in and talking to us about the episode after next week, because a lot of people are going to have a lot of opinions and a lot of feelings. I'm just going to say it again, try Jesus. Don't try me, because I throw hands. Feel however you feel.
Hey, but we're not going to hold back either. It's going to be a good discussion. I'm going to hold Dante's feet to the fire, and he's going to do the same for me. But I think a lot of people will definitely have an opinion, like Dante said. So I'm interested to hear your thoughts, but we can't get ahead of ourselves. They still have to listen to this episode, so let us know your thoughts on this episode as well, because I'm sure y'all will have some thoughts. But again, thank you guys for listening. We will catch you next week. Enjoy this episode, and y'all have a great rest of your week.
Hope y'all enjoy. We'll catch you on the next one.